Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. In just a bit, I'm out the door to check out the new thriller, The Wasp. So what's the story of this film? Well, it tells the story of a woman who's in an abusive relationship. She sees no way out of this relationship, so she finds an old friend of hers that has, well, let's just say questionable morals, and the two of them start working on a plan to kill her husband. Guys, this looks like a tension-filled suspense thriller, and I love a good tension-filled suspense thriller. Just watching the trailer of this movie gave me the chills in some parts. This movie is directed by Guillermo Morales, and it's starring Naomi Harris, Natalie Dorman, and Dominic Allburn. And you know what, guys? It's enough of me sitting here yammering on because I need to get out the door and check out The Wasp. Welcome back, just getting home, and guys, this movie completely exceeded my expectations. Now, I was going into this film expecting a fun little suspense thriller, and what I got was something much, much deeper and much, much more than just that. So let's get this started, shall we? We're going to get things started with negatives, then move into the positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. Now, I'm not saying that this is a negative by any means, but this is more of a warning. First off, this film deals with some very, very heavy subject matter. If you're a person who cannot deal with the subject matter of abuse, spousal abuse, bullying, things of that sort, this is probably not the film for you. If that's something that you just cannot take, this is not going to be your film. Also, almost all of this film takes place in one location, just in this woman's living room. Setting room, if you're in England, living room over here in the States. But anyways, I digress. Most of the film takes place in the living room and these two people hanging out having a conversation. Now, if you're somebody that does not like stuff like that, if you need constant action, changing of locations and things like that, this is probably not going to be your film. Now, it is not a slow burn by any way, shape, or form. The pacing in this film is actually really well done, which we'll get to. It's just the fact that everything takes place in one pretty much spot. There are some areas in the film where you go off to different locations, but most of the actual, I would say, guts of the film all take place in one spot. Now, I was watching it, and as I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, I love this. I love what's going on here, but this movie really feels like a stage play. Well, yeah, it's based off of a stage play. It was adapted to the screen from a stage play from 2015, and I thought they did an excellent job. And the flashback scenes and all, I'm fairly certain. I don't know. I've never seen the play, but I would assume those weren't there. But in this film, I think it's nice that they have the flashback scenes because it kind of breaks things up a little bit. It gets you just out of that stuffy old room, out somewhere else to give a little bit more background to our characters. The story of this film is really where it shines. Now, as I said, this movie is not a slow burn. The pacing is very well done. This movie just takes the hell off. It starts off with the character feeling very upset and torn about something, and then she just goes off on a tangent. She finds her partner in crime, her old friend. The two of them start sitting down, making a plan on what to do, and that's pretty much the first act. And then you get to the second act, and it all goes different. Everything goes haywire. And this is one of those films that if I give away any kind of spoilers or anything like that, it could completely ruin the film. So from this point on, just pay attention to the description of the film that I gave you, okay? Don't try to find out any more information on this movie. Do what you can to go into this film completely blind, because knowing more about it could ruin certain aspects of the film. And I'm glad that I knew very little about this movie going into it, because again, like I said, it exceeded my expectations so much. The acting in this film is amazing. Our two main characters are on screen they're pretty much the only ones that you really get to know. Our two main characters, played by Naomi Harris and Natalie Dormer, and both of these actors do outstanding jobs with these performances. It is just crazy how two actors in one room can just keep the story flowing and going, and you as a viewer so interested in what is unfolding in front of your eyes on the screen. This is the type of movie that reminds you what true cinema really is. Just an amazingly well executed film. And like I said, the pacing, it's not a slow burn. It just keeps rolling. It just keeps going up to the very end. And this movie is not a long watch. It actually is pretty well in and out type of film. It's around just an hour and 30 minutes, and it uses every little bit of that time it possibly can to develop its characters and let this story just grow and get in your head. By the end of this film, it is not like surrealistic or anything like that. It's just suddenly like, what in the hell did I just watch? That was crazy. Just everything that goes on in this film. This movie does touch on some very sensitive subjects, as I said before, but I do feel that it handles them in a very good way. It doesn't get off preachy or anything like that. It just shows to you what basically cause and effect could possibly be with your actions. So you know what, guys? I would say this is a very solid get out there, support this film in theaters. This is not one of those crazy weekends where there's like 4 or 5 different tentpole films or Marvel bullshit coming out. This is just a true little film that's in theaters right now. It's done by Shout Studios, which this is the second film by Shout Studios that I can think of here recently that I've seen in theaters, and I loved both of them. The other one was The Dead Don't Hurt, and now The Wasp. An extremely solid, very good suspense thriller that had me guessing up till the very end. So if this sounds like something you want to check out, definitely get out there in the theaters and support this movie. Well, that's all I have for you today, guys. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.